All right, welcome everyone to another edition of the Horse Guy Mike podcast. It's time for the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks podcast. This is the biggest one of the year. We're ready. We've been waiting months and months, going through all the preps, waiting for our big day. It's finally here, Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks podcast. I'm Horse Guy Mike. Joining me, my good friend John Herco. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, it's Johnny the Wire, by the way. Don't forget it because.
Oh, you're off Twitter. I didn't know.
Yeah, I did. I'm not down with Elon Musk. I'm off Twitter. Feels great. I think I'm 1 week in, and I haven't really noticed anything. My life is going on as is. So
I know, and
good about that.
And it's the cold season. If you could get through the NFL draft and the pre-Derby hype, you can get through anything.
Yeah. All the dumb hot takes on Twitter about the Kentucky Derby. I don't need to see them. Like I have my hot takes, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we have this podcast, because too many podcasts are out there with hosts who are good friends who just agree about everything. We're here to give our hot takes.
I'm here to trash on all of your picks
and argue nonstop.
And you're going to trash on some of mine. We already know it's going to happen.
That's right. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to jump in with the Kentucky Derby first, and then we're going to jump into the Kentucky Oaks, talk about that. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition where we go through the Pick 6 on Saturday. A lot of great races on the undercard. A lot of great competitors, no real singles there. So we're excited to talk about that. But tonight, we're gonna get started by talking about the Kentucky Derby. So leading off, John, just to kick us off, give us your top pick for the Kentucky Derby, just cold, right off the bat.
Right off the bat?
Yeah.
White Abarrio.
He's
boom. Ice cold. He looks cold.
He does. He looks ice cold.
He was born in the snow. He's like Jon Snow's horse.
All right. So tell me.
Top pick, White Abarrio. We saw him run down in Gulfstream, Florida Derby champion. As I know, the Florida Derby, the most productive prep race when it comes to getting a Kentucky Derby winner. I think it's like 24 Kentucky Derby winners have come from the Florida Derby. So White Abarrio wins that key race. And if we want to get specific about it, do you want me to just go through everything with him? Are we just how we're gonna do it?
Yeah, I just want to hear your thought process about White Abarrio. I think I'm a big fan as well, so I just want to hear how he ended up being your pick on top.
My number one pick. Yeah, he's 10-1, which I love the odds. I think he's getting a little overlooked. And the reason he's getting overlooked is because he's coming in with a 96 buyer. So he most of the top horses have like 102 buyers, 99 buyers. So he's a little bit, he's like a half step below that top line on the buyer scale. And I think that's helping his odds because, if he was coming in with a 99 or a 100 buyer, I think he would be right there with the favorites because his running style, you've seen it on the replays in the Holy Bull and in the Florida Derby. He gets out of the gate fast. He's not too fast. He's able to relax. He's got a high cruising speed. Tyler Gaffalione is able to sit there, put him in a good spot. He's either 2 off the lead, 3 horses off the lead. And Gaffalione's able to find a nice, comfortable spot for him. And then every time in 2022, this horse has finished strong. He's finished stronger than all the other horses behind him, and he's gotten it done. He's 2 for 2. He's got a 97 and a 96 buyer in his 2 races as a 3-year-old. So he's coming into the Kentucky Derby 3rd off the layoff. Everyone loves that 3rd off the layoff spot. That's kind of the perfect spot where horses kind of hit their peak. He's working out great over the Gulfstream Park surface. I just look at it like everything you want to hit. He wins races. He's got good buyers. He's got the great running style. He's got a top jockey. He's working out well. He checks all the boxes. So White Abarrio, and he's got a good post position. He's post 15. So he's nice. He's kind of a little bit out wider. So he should be able to get that same Florida Derby trip where he pops out of the gate. He's not going to be the fastest horse, but he's going to get ahead of most of the pack. I think he's going to sit, 4th, 5th. Let that first group of horses go out on the lead and then be right in off of that. And Gaffalione should have a clean path to get him moving home down the home stretch. So, I think White Abarrio's got the goods, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of White Abarrio. I picked him in the Florida Derby. I think you were on simplification that day, but you saw how great White Abarrio is. I agree with everything you said. The 15 post is perfect for him. They want to stay clear of traffic. So even if he ends up being, 4 or 5 back, he's going to be clear on the outside. So it's going to be perfect for him to, be one of the ones to make that first move and not have to worry about getting around horses on the outside. So the post position is perfect. He has tactical speed. He can be forwardly placed. I think in the Holy Bull, he went to the lead because no one else went. Like he broke so sharply and he got there and realized, oh, no one is pushing me. I'll just do it. But in
he just cruised. And I'm telling you, he's got that cruising speed that you love to see.
Yeah, and in the Florida Derby, he understood like Classic Causeway and Papa Capra going to the lead. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to sit off of them. I'll let them push. So he does have that, adaptability there, which is really impressive. People like to conflate, Safi Joseph doesn't have any success here. He's only had one Derby starter in the past. And people like to overinflate, like he doesn't do well outside of Florida. Well, he only really runs in Florida and New York. He does fine in New York too. He's had a couple starters in Keeneland, but really, it's not that he fails when he moves elsewhere. He just doesn't go there. So,
I also think he's getting better horses over the last couple of years, and that's kind of like we're kind of seeing it. He used to just run only at Gulfstream, but now he's having success at Monmouth. He's having success at Saratoga, and I think White Barrio is kind of you're kind of seeing that manifest on the track where. His other Kentucky Derby runner was NY Traffic, who, a good horse, but not really a Kentucky Derby level horse. I think that White Barrio is the first time he's had like a real 10 furlong Kentucky Derby style horse. So I think as a trainer, he just won the trainer's title down there at Gulfstream, beat out Todd Pletcher. So that's huge. So, I think he's really coming up as a trainer. And I think he's got the perfect horse in the right posts. That's getting right at the right time. And, it might be his second runner, but it might be his first winner.
Yeah. And something we can't overlook here is this horse has experience at Churchill. Most of these horses don't. He ran at Churchill last year in that Kentucky Jockeys Club.
It was his only loss, actually.
Yeah, his only loss. He got third, but he has experience on the track.
Yeah.
So he's not just a Gulfstream horse.
In that race, he was stuck behind. He was getting kickback. So I think with the outside post, I think he'll be able to be nice and clear, and he won't get stuck in behind horses. So I think he'll get that better trip. So that's White Barrio. It sounds like you're on him. Is he not your top choice though?
No. So like I said, I love White Barrio. And I think, if I was playing with just my heart, he would be my number one pick because I'm always have a heavy favorite towards the Florida Derby winner. Especially this year because we were there in person. I got to see him. We hit the pick six on him. So I have a really big emotional connection to him. Yeah. I have a futures bet on him, so if he does win, I'll cash that. I got him at 22-1 in the third or fourth pool. So I'm all on him. I just can't put him on top for me. And my top horse, and the draw kind of threw me off at first, but the more I look at it, the more I'm going to be okay with it. Is going to be Epicenter.
Okay.
I initially was going to put Messier on top, but the more I watched it, the more I looked at everything.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah. Epicenter is going to be my number one horse.
Okay.
I've been a big fan of this horse since his Lecomte. I watched that Lecomte and he barely lost. He got nipped at the wire by Call Me Midnight. And he came back in the Risen Star. I was like, this horse Epicenter is going to be a monster. Like he barely lost, had a bad race set up. He's going to win this race easily. And he did. He went wire to wire in the Risen Star. Won with no issues. He came back in Louisiana Derby. I thought there was a horse there that might beat him, Zozos, who's coming off the bench, but no, he dominated that Louisiana Derby. Not even an issue. Got a 102 buyer. Got a nice time for him. I think it was a 118. Let's see. 118 time for him. He's really well raced too. 6 starts, 4 wins, 1 second. This is a horse with experience. With, again, just like White Barrio, tactical speed. He can be on the lead if it's there. He can sit off of it if it's there, if it's not there. And so I thought the post position, when I was first looking at it initially, that 3 holes kind of not ideal for what we were talking about with White Barrio, who's going to be on the outside avoiding traffic. But you look at the 2 horses who drew inside, and it was Mo Donegal and who's the other one?
Happy
Jack, who are both deep closers. They're not going to break. They're going to go straight to the back.
Right, yeah.
And so he's going to have that inside lane over anyone. Directly outside of him is Summer is Tomorrow, who is a pure sprinter. Summer is Tomorrow is going to go to the lead. Messier is going to go to the lead. and maybe not maybe Classic Causeway is going to go to the lead. Those three are going to be 1, 2, 3, and then Epicenter is going to be right there on the inside, in that second tier of horses. He's going to be in the perfect spot. He's not going to run into traffic because he's going to be on the rail. So when they hit that turn, he's going to be able to go up the rail, bypass that dying Summer is Tomorrow, and he's going to hit the lane and go forward.
All right. Well, let's pause right there. So you say he's not going to be in traffic, but if he's on the rail, you got 20 horses, like he's going to be in traffic.
But I think when I say traffic, like I'm thinking of horses in the middle of the pack who are trying to swing outside. He's only going to have to pass one horse who's directly in front of him, and he can either cut him inside.
His best scenario would be he gets on the rail and he's right in behind the leaders.
Mm-hmm. And you can cut inside or split horses up the middle.
Right. So as they come around the first turn, maybe he can kind of tip out a little bit and find a hole there. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, he's not going to have to worry about having 10 to 15 horses around him that he has to try to navigate through.
Rosario blew it last year on that horse Rock Your World.
That was
Rock Your World
he wasn't
supposed to be on the lead, and
he wasn't in the stirrups. He was a turf horse. There was a lot of things going on there, but Rosario is also going to be on Echo Zulu on Friday, who's a pure speed horse. So he's going to be.
We'll get to the Oaks later.
Yeah. But I think Rosario, people give him a lot of flack, like, oh, he's the best on closers, and he is. He's an excellent rider on closers. He does just fine on horses who need the lead, and he's ridden Epicenter in all of his big races. I think with his tactical speed, with his buyer, with his additional layoff, no one's talking about the fact that he has 1, 2, 3 weeks more rest than these other horses. That's a lot. It might not seem like a lot, but with how heavily these horses are racing in this short period of time, getting that extra week of rest is big. So Epicenter is going to be my pick on top.
Epicenter. So he's your top pick. I have him as my third choice.
Okay.
So he's definitely one of the horses, like when I'm playing the pick 6 and these other bets, I'm going to use him. I don't know. See, you're not as worried about the post position as I am, I guess, is
and
really what it's going to boil down to.
And I saw the picture of the new gate compared to the old gate, and the 3 where the 3 is now is basically where like the 5 or 6 was on the old gate. And imagine like a horse.
That's a good way to look at it, because
it's moved off the rail.
He's going to need that space. He's going to need to carve out space, somewhere down there, because it scares me to death, because I always get screwed on Rosario. I picked it. I brought up Rock Your World. I had money on Rock Your World. I wanted that horse to go out to the lead, and Rosario had that horse in the back of the field, and it was a disaster. And I just worry that that's going to happen again to Epicenter, and then he's going to be, mid-pack, and there's going to be 10 horses crashing down on him. And if that happens, I mean, you're cooked. Like, there's no way he's fighting back from that.
Yeah, and I'm just banking on the fact that Rosario will have his feet in the stirrups this time, because I mean, he races 1,000 times a year.
I mean, he races all the big horses. Like, the moment won't be too big for him. It's just like, is he gonna get it done or not?
Yeah.
And you're not gonna know until they open the gate. So it's really a moot point. You just have to kind of hope and pray on that one. I will say about Epicenter, the amount of races he's had, like, he ran so great in the Louisiana Derby, ran the 102 buyer. He, finished like a rocket ship. And it just, that little thing in the back of my mind, like, did he peak? Like, was that the race that he peaked at? And, is he going to be able to double down on that 102 buyer and run it again?
And see, I would tend to agree, but it was so easy. Like, he was in hand the entire time. Like, he blew by Zozos like he was standing still.
He did blow by him standing still. I think the field was bad, I think, is what really happened there. And then, because if you look at his workouts, he's coming back and he's working out fine, but he's not working out like a bullet. Like, going into that Louisiana Derby, he worked like bullet. He had 2 bullet workouts going into that Louisiana Derby. And now coming out of that, he's not firing bullets coming into the Kentucky Derby. So that's the one thing that gives me pause. Like, obviously he's a very talented horse, but maybe he peaked in that last race. And so it's one of those things. I still got to use him, because I still, obviously he wins. He wins all these races. He looks great. And so maybe the workout thing, maybe I'm reading too much into that. And maybe he'll figure out a good trip from the 3 post. And then if all that happens, he's, I think he's got a great shot. So for me, he's like a defensive use.
He's like a B horse for you.
Yeah, he's like a B horse.
Okay.
or like he'd be like my third choice. So, you know, I don't want to get beat by him for sure, but I just think he's got a lot. I just think he's got a lot going against him.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Epicenter's my 1. He's your 3. White Abario is your 1. He's my 4. Now it's when we start arguing.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Because
so
you're going to hate you want to go down to my number 2 horse?
Yeah. Tell me who your number 2 horse is.
Yeah. I think you know who it is. It's Gunrunner. It's Brad Cox. It's Cyberknife out of the 16 gate right next to White Abario. He's a grade 1 winner, Mike. Before you start saying anything, he won the grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Brad Cox, this is Brad Cox's best horse. Brad Cox, you know, he's the trainer of Essential Quality, Mandaloon. He finished 2nd and 4th in last year's Kentucky Derby. I think there's a very heavy chance that Brad Cox gets revenge on that whole Medina Spirit fiasco. You know, Mandaloon ended up being the quote-unquote winner, but I think Brad Cox, you know, he wants to win that, get first on the line. And I think Cyberknife might be that horse. He's going to have, just like White Abario, they're right next to each other. He's going to have a nice clean trip from the outside. Florent Giroux is going to be able to put him out nice and wide. Hopefully not too wide. That's the risk you take, you know, being out there. You don't want to get stuck like 6 wide. But if he can find a nice comfortable trip, I think Cyberknife has the pedigree by Gunrunner. He's shown you that he can win a grade 1 race, which I believe is huge. I know he only has a 92 buyer. So, you know, we talk about these horses like Epicenter had a 102. So he's 10 points off the buyer scale. But I think he's got another improvement in him in this race. I think he's a great shot to hit the board too. He's 20 to 1. And I think he could get up there. Like maybe if White Abario, let's say White Abario doesn't fire, I got the horse right next to him, and maybe Cyberknife gets that stalking trip that we were talking about with White Abario. So I love Cyberknife. He's my number 2 choice. I think on paper, you look at it, it's Brad Cox. It's a grade 1 winner, Florent Giroux. Like the connections add up. And the only thing you can knock is the buyer of a 92.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things to knock. I hate this horse so much, and you know, and there's a reason. So there's a reason
strong word.
There's a reason he's 20 to 1. Okay, why is the?
I think that's ridiculous. He should be like 15 to 1 at most.
Why? Yeah, why is the grade 1 Arkansas Derby winner 20 to 1? Well, you know why? It's because that field in Arkansas was terrible. He beat a filly and he beat
he beat him easily. He smoked him.
He didn't smoke him. He beat Barbaro by 2 lengths, and he was getting whipped the entire time. And still only got a 92 buyer. Still only got a 114 time form, 94 Brisnet. His speed figures across the board were bad, and his speed figure it's
not that bad. He's just a little bit below the.
But
top.
it's significantly below. But it's not like he ran fast races before that. But it wasn't like he ran fast races before that. Like I'd understand if his allowance or his maiden were fast. And then he just kind of regressed here because the field was low. But none of his races have ever been fast.
He's building up to it. He keeps getting faster each race.
He seems to have peaked. And the other thing,
and he's on a 2-race win streak. No, see, that's the thing. I don't think he peaked. I think he's on a 2-race win streak. His buyers went from 87 to 92. I think he's got another jump in him.
So when you look at his training regimen, the first race he ran in, he won it, but he got DQ'd because he ran into the opponent. Yeah. Second race was a maiden. He lost. Third race was a 45K maiden at Fairgrounds. He went on Lasix. He won that race. Came back first off Lasix, first against Stakes Company, got destroyed, got obliterated.
That was the Lecomte, right?
That was the Lecomte. So he was racing against Epicenter and a couple of the other horses and was just not a factor at all. And there wasn't really an excuse. It wasn't like he was coming off of a big layoff. He
got off slow. There wasn't a really big excuse.
Yeah, he wasn't switching tracks. He wasn't coming off a layoff. He was coming off Lasix. That would be.
He did run with blinkers on. Hey, how about that? Like Brad Cox, he won without blinkers. Brad Cox put blinkers on the horse. The horse hated it, and then he got off blinkers, and now he's won 2 races in a row. So
he also went back on Lasix for his allowance. And then they shipped him to Oaklawn because they didn't want to run into Epicenter again.
No. See, this is where you're wrong. He won at Fairgrounds in the allowance, and then he shipped him to Arkansas because he's his best horse. Brad Cox is like, I have a grade 1 race, and I'm going to put my best horse into the grade 1 race. And guess what? He won it. That's what
he shipped him there because it was a light field.
Okay, but it's a grade 1, and it's like, okay, there's a field I can beat in a grade 1 race.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go win that race, and he did.
It was a good job. He spotted him really well.
Yeah.
To make him a grade 1 winner. But I'm saying there's a reason he's 20-1 and getting no respect, even though he's a grade 1 winner.
I think people are crazy for not respecting that horse. Put it that way. I think you got to have him on your tickets. I mean, I think he's a great shot.
You got to love Barber Road then too.
Like Barber Road. No. Barber Road is a slow donkey animal that Barber Road beat all of the other horses, right? Like Cyberknife was so far out in front, and then Barber Road beat all of the other. Like, I don't like any of the horses that were behind Cyberknife. I just like him.
I mean, he only finished back two lengths, or 2.5 lengths. It wasn't that bad of a beatdown.
Open length, whatever.
Okay. Anyway, so
clearly you're not using Cyberknife.
So I want to ask you this:
grade 1 winner on a 2-race win streak for one of the top trainers.
Grade 1. Okay. So you like him because you like him. I know you like him. It's because you want a gun runner in this race. You want a gun runner to win.
Gun runner. Pedigree's awesome. They're going to run all day.
Okay. I'm tossing him completely. I don't think he'll finish.
Okay.
I don't think he'll finish top 8, honestly. But I'm going to go bring up the 2 horses that you hate that I'm going to use.
So your 2 and 3 horses here?
These are my number 2, my number 3 horses, and that's Messier and Taiba. And I really like it. I don't even know what needs to be said about why I like these horses, because it just goes without saying. They are, first of all, Taiba is undefeated, perfect 2 for 2, back-to-back over 100 buyer speed figures. I think it was Matt Bernier who posted, like, when a horse is coming off back-to-back 100+ buyer speed figures, they've only lost the Derby like 2 or 3 times. So
let's make it 3 or 4.
He has the speed figures. Literally, the only thing knocking Taiba is his inexperience. If he had done like an allowance, like a random allowance race against a field of 4 or 5 in California, like they always have out there, no one would be knocking him, because that'd be the exact same progression as Justify, maiden, allowance, Santa Anita with big figures. Not saying he's Justify, but just the fact that, okay, he didn't run in a low level allowance, that's the only reason we're not going to instantly use him. That's ridiculous. Like, he doesn't need to prove himself against low level allowance company just to say he has more experience.
It begs the question, like, why wasn't he healthy enough to run?
That is the only thing. Like, there's a lot of question marks around this horse.
When was his first? Like, let's look at the spacing of his races. He won on March 5th, and then he came back in April 9th. So I guess they didn't really have a choice. Like, it was kind of, a month. Yeah, it was like a month in between. So they didn't really have a choice to get an allowance. It was basically like, hey, if we want to go to the Derby, we have to run him back in the Santa Anita Derby first.
Yeah, and this horse screams a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. It's Zandon Racing, it's Bob Baffert, Tim Yaktine, all the drama there. $1.7 million purchase. So what this says to me is, like, Zandon Racing gave this horse to Bob. He was taking his time with him, was going to spot him well. All the drama happened with the point system and the suspension, where he's like, you know what, this horse isn't going to get in the Derby anyway. Let me just run him in a maiden, see what he's got. Then he decides to transfer all of his horses over. This horse goes to Tim Yaktine. Tim Yaktine doesn't even want to run him in the Santa Anita Derby. He's like, I just got this horse. Yeah. He's only run 1 race. I'm not going to rush him. And Zandon Racing's like, no, we paid a ton of money for this horse. We know he's a huge threat. Run him in Santa Anita. If he doesn't do well, we'll reevaluate from there. He's like,
I'm glad you brought this up. The trainer didn't even want to run him, and the owner, Medina Spirit's owner, was like, no, you're running him, and then he ended up winning. I mean, that's just odd.
And to me, I don't think Tim Yaktine saw anything in the horse was like, this horse isn't sound or is not ready. It's more like, he's only one race. I just got him. I'm not really comfortable with this, but it's your horse. If you feel that it's comfortable, let's do it.
And he stretched him out from 6 furlongs to 1 1/8 miles. So it was a big, long stretch out. And
he's got the pedigree for it. He's a gun runner too. So
okay, so we just talked about how I love the gun runner. Well, let's talk about how I'm tossing this gun runner, throwing him over the mountains.
And it's like an emotional response for you, because you hate Baffert and this horse beat you last out.
Let's break this down. So I'm looking forward to this Kentucky Derby without Bob Baffert's influence on it, like we've seen the last few years, when these horses, they get out on the lead and then they don't ever stop. They just go, 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 and they end up winning. And we saw that with Medina Spirit, with Authentic, with Justify. So I'm ready for a Kentucky Derby race that's run like a real horse race. And I think throwing out these two horses is kind of how you get there, because with Taiba, yes, he ran amazing. He has a 103 and a 102 buyer for his only two runs. But I think bringing up that whole, like, the owner wanted to run him and the trainer didn't, like, that was such a hard race that he ran the last time out in the Santa Anita Derby, where he was in third place and he had to bust ass all the way down the stretch to go win that race. And he did. I think he's a very talented horse. But then you pair that with the fact that coming out of that race, he missed a workout. They had to keep him off the training track after that race because, maybe he was limping around or he was tired or what, we don't know. But something happened where he missed a workout. And then so he's had one workout, and then he shipped over to Churchill Downs. I'm assuming like this week he's going to ship over there. So I think that race was so hard on him that it took a lot out of the horse. And without Bob Baffert's influence on Derby week, I think you're going to see a tired horse, and he is going to be in for a hell of a ride, man. Because if he gets bumped around and he's kind of just in the fray, with all these other horses around him, like, I don't think he's going to have that clean run down the home stretch. And I think he's going to be tired. I don't think he's going to have the same stamina that he did in the Santa Anita Derby. Like, I think that was just a max effort, and I think he's going to need more time than, the 4 weeks off or whatever that he's getting. So for me, I think you either have to use him to win or he's a complete toss. Like, I think he's one of the two.
Yeah,
and so I'm just gonna.
I agree. So I think you're absolutely right there. This horse is either a monster, who is unchallenged, lightly raced, and fast as hell, and
can rebound off of a tough race like that.
Yeah. So this horse is
third career start. Like,
yeah, like, this horse is either
so much.
This horse is either going to win the Triple Crown or he's going to be off the board here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave him off in case he's that Triple Crown guy. And it's not like he's the favorite. He's 12-1. Like, if you're going to get 12-1 on this horse, that's insane value. I think he will.
Because of the buyers, I think he's going to come way down.
Yeah,
he'll be like 6-1.
I think he'll come down, but if he is 12-1, that's significant value. I'm going to play that all the way across the board, no matter my emotional feelings. It's like, I'm not going to leave a 12-1 horse off my ticket who has the fastest speed figures in the field, not just buyer, but time form. Brisnet has the proper style.
He has the fastest speed figures because of how he finishes races, not how he starts races. Because he finishes races strong, he just, he gets faster as they go longer, type of thing. But for me, it's like, well, what if he doesn't even get a clean run, and he's like sitting mid-pack somewhere? Is he just going to, throw in the towel, or, is Mike Smith going to have him, do you think he's going to be ahead of White Abarrio? Like, when we're talking about the pace presence, because he's in the 12 spot, White Abarrio's in the 15. I personally think White Abarrio is faster out of the gate, and White Abarrio will be ahead of him.
According to time form, not. Taiba has a 111 early. White Abarrio only has a 98 early. But that can be weighted a certain way. I think White Abarrio will probably break cleaner. But you never know with the Derby. The stretch is really long, and everyone's trying to break fast to get position. Where horses who, wouldn't normally push that hard that early, they're gonna try to go that here. So you're right. He might get shuffled back here. He did break sharp in the Santa Anita, and he kind of pulled off because he knew Forbidden Kingdom and Messier were going to be in a speed duel.
Right, Mike Smith kind of held him back. So I mean, who knows, man? I personally think he's going to get shuffled back. And if that happens, I think he's toast. I don't think there's any way he's going to overcome it, being with all the, the max efforts and all that stuff. So you clearly think he's going to get a clean run, though, and he's going to bring the run at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I do. And you're talking about the Santa Anita Derby taking a lot out of him. I agree. It probably took a lot out of him. They gave him only one work, as opposed to most horses would get 2 works in that time. But conversely, he is the most lightly raced. So these other races are going to start catching up to horses. So I talked about Epicenter having 6 races as a good thing, and it is a good thing because he has a ton of experience. But when you've got, 3 preps or 4 preps during like this spring season, that starts to wear on the body of these horses, especially.
White Abarrio only has 2.
Yeah, White Barrio has 2, another perfect setup there. So that does catch up, and we're seeing that trend more and more lately, where these lightly raced horses going into the Derby are finishing better. You're seeing more and more horses with only 2 preps or only 3 preps, which is way different than the back in the day of 4 or 5 preps being the norm. So even though the Santa Anita Derby might have taken a lot out, in general, his body isn't as tired as some of these other horses.
We'll see.
So, and that would lead me to my other one is Messier. Messier is like almost the same exact thing as Taiba, except he's more experienced. He has more experience going 2 turns. He has more experience facing, issues. His speed figures, coming out of that same race and finishing close to Taiba were very similar, but he's also posted high speed figures going 2 turns in the past.
He has more early pace, I think, than Taiba.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the problem with Messier, though, 2 out of his last 3 races, he's been on the lead when turning from home, and he gets run down and he loses. So, I mean, this is a horse that in no way can I play to win, because I don't see him finishing off his races. Like, he did the Robert B. Lewis, but that was when Bob Baffert was training him, and now Bob Baffert's not training him. I think that's a big key, because I do think Messier could be the horse like out on the lead. When we talk about the early pace, like I do think Messier could be like that horse. And, maybe the Japanese horse drops out of it, Classic Causeway. So it looks like Messier is going to be like, oh my God, he's got the lead going down into the home stretch. But I think we've seen a bunch of times in his past that he gets caught in that home stretch. And I think all you're doing now is you're just adding more distance. And I just think somewhere along the way, Messier is going to get caught. And that's why I can't play him to win. But I could play him underneath. Like if you want to play him 3rd place in a try or super, 4th place in a super, I think he could have the speed to get out there and then maybe hang on for one of those bottom spots.
Yeah, and I definitely see what you're saying. I kind of draw a line through his low sal futurity, because first of all, it's low sal. Track plays a little bit different. It was in December too, so it was during his 2-year-old season.
If you were to look in Los Alamitos, man.
If you were to look at a lot of these horses' 2-year-old campaigns, they don't look great. Like look what Cyberknife was doing at 2. Look what Zandon was doing at 2. They're bad. Like 2-year-old campaigns don't matter as much as what they're doing at 3-year-old. And at 3-year-old, that Robert B. Lewis was the most impressive performance that any of these horses have given.
Again, Bob Baffert was trainer.
Yeah, he won by 15 lengths with a 103 buyer. That race
got to the lead and he didn't stop running.
Yeah.
that was the Medina Spirit run.
Yeah. But if he does that race, no one in this field can beat him. But the question is,
I agree, but I'm literally banking on the fact that
Bob
Baffert's not the trainer anymore, and he's not going to get that type of finish.
Yeah,
he's gonna have speed, but then he's gonna get tired.
Yeah, and I think the Santa Anita Derby, he knew he needed to get 1st or 2nd to get points. I think he beat Forbidden Kingdom, knew that the other big horses were way far back. He's like, it's me and Taiba all right through. Taiba had the momentum. He made the move, and he's like,
Taiba was just the better horse.
I think Taiba was the better horse, but I don't think he killed Messier to get to there. He didn't. It wasn't his cranked up need to be 100% for this race, and you saw that he came back and did 2 workouts. He had a bullet workout.
He is working out better than Taiba.
Yeah. So he had two really good workouts. He has more experience, pedigree wise. Empire Maker, I heard he's not a very good mutter dam, but Empire Maker, of course, won the Belmont. His son Bodemeister was the sire to Always Dreaming, and his other son, Pioneer of the Nile, was sire to American Pharaoh. So there is some Kentucky Derby pedigree there. Yeah, there's some good distance pedigree. So
again, I tell you, I like the way he runs. I think he can hit the board. I'm just not. I can't play him to win.
And I think you've been asking for an honest pace this whole time, and I think you're not going to get that horse who's going to go wire to wire this year, because Summer is tomorrow is going to go. Classic Causeway is going to go.
Causeway.
Zozos is also probably going to push. Epicenter is probably going to push it, but Messier is not going to be the lone leader like Medina Spirit was, just sitting on easy fractions. It's not going to be that way.
Right.
He'll be probably third or fourth, sitting right off. Those 2 are going to tire. He's going to pass them when they hit the backstretch. Going around the turn, he's going to have all that momentum.
Yeah, going around the turn, I fully expect Messier to get his head in the lead somewhere.
Yeah, so I think
everyone's going to kind of hold their breath, like, is it going to happen? And then I think you're going to realize down the lane that it's not going to happen for him.
Yeah, and that's the trend I also looked at, was like, in the Kentucky Derby, if you're first when they hit the stretch, you're really likely to win. You either need to be
Right.
first, second, or third
Yeah,
when they
you
hit
need
the
to be like
stretch.
within a length of the leader basically when you hit the stretch.
Yeah,
If
and
you want to,
if
if you really want to have a chance to win it. And I think White Abarrio could be that horse.
yeah, and so if Messier puts his head in front after Summers Tomorrow and Classic Causeway fade, and as they're hitting the turn, you're going to see White Abarrio making his move. You're going to see Epicenter on the inside passing those horses. You're
Yeah,
going to
Epicenter could be right there with them,
Yeah, so it's going to
So
be those horses. You're going to see Taba's going to start to make their move. I think those are my four that I'm playing. My exact
yeah,
scenario is those four are going to be the ones making their move on the stretch. All four of them are going to hit the line, and it's just going to be a sprint to the
a
finish.
four-way dead heat.
Four-way dead heat. I hit the pick six
I,
4 times.
yeah, see, I think my scenario is similar to yours. I have Messier up there. I love White Abarrio. I think Epicenter could be there. I don't think Taiba is going to be there. So you think Taiba is going to be like in that top four mix there when they turn for home? I don't think he'll be there. I think he'll be somewhere farther back. I think Cyberknife is the one that could be up there, and then everyone's going to be kicking themselves when Cyberknife is the one, and everyone's it's Brad Cox. Why didn't I have it?
I mean, he's your boy. I think Cyberknife he's a really good Haskell horse,
I will say if Taba's there and he's looking good, then I'm gonna be like, oh damn it, but I gotta let him beat me because, like I said, I just think the way I'm reading his handicapping, I just think he's coming in not 100%.
Yeah, and
so I got to bet that way.
And that's what I was saying. Like his workout too, I wish it was one way or the other, but it wasn't. Like it was fine. It wasn't an amazing workout. It wasn't like a bullet. It wasn't blown away, and it wasn't bad. Like he didn't look bad. It was a workout.
Yeah.
It was a maintenance workout. He looked fine. There wasn't like I'm gonna go this way or that way. He needed the time off. He only did one work. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, so I think that goes for our top pick. So like, if I was gonna do like a straight trifecta, I would go 15 of White Abarrio over 16 Cyberknife over 3 Epicenter.
All right. I like
that. Thing would pay out. That thing would pay.
It would. I want to get your thoughts on some of the other.
What would your
what would mine be?
What would yours be? Like
a straight one? I'd
your straight, like you have $1, you got to put them in the order.
I'd put Messier, Taiba, White Abarrio.
You have Messier number 1?
No, sorry. I do Epicenter, Taiba, Messier as my top 3, and White Abarrio would finish out my super.
Gotcha.
So that would be mine. But obviously we're not going to play it straight. Those are our top picks. But I want to hear some of the other. I want to hear some thoughts on some of the other big horses in here. Neither of us have mentioned the morning line favorite, and that's Zandon.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on Zandon?
So I have him written down as underneath, meaning that so he's the fourth choice. If I was like, I haven't fleshed out my pick sixes yet and all that, but if I have like enough room in my ticket, he would be my fourth choice to play on the win bet. But he's kind of like a 50-50 on the win side. I think he's an overrated favorite. 3-1, I think, is ridiculous on him. I realize he's coming in off a win in the Grade 1 Bluegrass, but he ran a 98 buyer. I mean, it's not like he blew away the field with an over 100 buyer. That was his first win since his maiden race back in October of 2021. So, it's not like he's a win machine either. This is only his second win of his life. It looked great visually. Like, he was in the back of the field. He took all the dirt. He found a seam and then he just came exploding home. So I do think that the horse has like talent because I think he can take the kickback. He can run, past horses late. He can finish strong. You love all those things about a Kentucky Derby horse. But then the question is like, what's his trip going to be? Because he is like a mid-pack runner at best. So at best, he's going to be, like 12th or something, 10th.
Yeah. He's the worst breaker I've ever seen. He cannot break from the gate.
He actually broke all right. I actually watched the Bluegrass. He broke all right. And he was like, maybe 4 lengths off the lead. But then like, as they went around the backstretch, like he slowly just kind of like kept fading to the back. And then pretty soon he found himself in the back of the field on the backstretch.
And that's where he wants to be. But the same thing happened in the Risen Star. I think he jumped at the start or hobbled the start. What does the note say here?
And I also have that.
Yeah, hopped at the start in the Risen Star.
Yeah, so you know he doesn't get out of the gate all that great, you know, and then you have to think there's the long run into the first turn. So I mean that might just push him further back and further back. Like if he doesn't break that great and he gets squeezed and squeezed, like he might be in like 15th place, you know, or something crazy. I did write down though that so like if you look at his running lines, like he lost to Epicenter, he lost to Mo Donegal, and it's like who did he beat? He beat Smile Happy, and then that's about it, right? Like there wasn't much in that bluegrass that he beat, and he's already lost to these other horses. So with his running style and already losing to those horses, like I think it's going to be really tough for him to turn the tables on like an Epicenter who has a much better running style, who should be closer to the lead.
Yeah, like so Zandon being the favorite and the hype around Zandon was the most confusing thing to me that I'd ever
Him being
seen.
the favorite is ridiculous. I think he should be like 6-7 to 1, 8 to 1.
Like you said, he's raced 4 times. He's only won twice. This was his first win since his maiden. He got beat in the Remsen by Mo Donegal. That was a close race, but he got beat on the nose in the Risen Star by Epicenter and Smile Happy, pretty definitively. It wasn't particularly close, and he's not putting up fast speeds figures even in that last race.
His speed figures are improving, so
it's improving.
I do think he has a chance to hit the board. Like I definitely think like if he gets a clean trip, he can run up, maybe even get second. You know, he could get up as high as second, I think. But to win, it's just gonna be really hard.
Yeah, I mean, the last time a closer won the Derby was 2013. It was Orb, and Orb took advantage of an insanely fast pace. They went for I think 22:44, and it was also muddy. And Orb stayed in the middle of the track down the stretch and was able to pass everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time a closer won. Closers don't win this race. He also, like, his time form was 119, which is fine, but it's not as fast as Messier, Taiba, even Mo Donegal had higher time form. His buyer came back just fine, you know, same range as everyone else. So I think his style, he's not significantly faster than everyone, and he just doesn't have a proven record. Like you said, he's beat Smile Happy.
But he's also never finished off the board. He's in the top 3 every time. So
yeah.
I think for me, like he's one of these horses. Like, yeah, I'm probably going to use him in a trifecta somewhere.
And to me,
maybe even an exacta. Like I'll just key him in second in an exacta.
And to me, I'm going to completely toss him. The only thing I can see, I might put him in fourth because the only thing saving this horse for me at all is Flavian Pratt. He rode Country House, who had a similar style, and he was able to get Country House in a good spot. To where Country House was able to power home and get second and win. But if he can do the same thing with Zandon, I think it's dangerous. So if I'm watching this race and Zandon's sitting in 5th or 6th down the backstretch, I'm going to be really nervous.
Yeah, I don't think I
just don't think it will happen.
I mean, yeah, maybe, you know, some crazier things have happened. But so if you don't like Zandon, then what do you think about Mo Donegal? Because Mo Donegal and Zandon raced each other, and Mo Donegal beat him by a nose.
Yeah, and to me, I like Mo Donegal better.
Okay.
He had better time.
And they have a very similar running style. We should say that.
Yeah, and
Mo Donegal's in the 1 post, Zandon's in the 10. So I think Zandon has the better post position.
Yeah.
You know, Mo Donegal being on the rail, he's gonna have a ton of horses in front of him too.
Yeah, so I think Mo Donegal has better closing speed than Zandon does, but Zandon has faced lighter fields and has been better placed. But Mo Donegal, his time form's better from that Wood Memorial where they had a really kind of soft early pace, and he still closed.
I think
crazy.
I think the time figures on that race were bad. Like I don't think they were trustworthy. I like the buyer. The buyer has him at 96, which is lower than Zandon.
Yeah, and then the time form.
I think that's more realistic than
time form takes pace into it because early voting went so slow and Mo Donegal was able to close into it. That's why the time form's so skewed.
But he ended up being like the fastest horse in the field. I'm like, I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
But I did write Mo Donegal for underneath as well with Zandon. I think to me, like they are almost identical horses. And like, I think one of those two is going to get a trip, you know, or has a chance to get a trip and then fly up and get third, maybe get second.
Yeah.
I don't think both of them will. So I think you have to split them up that way. Like, I don't think you could play them both.
Yeah. And I'm not going to play Mo Donegal in this race at all. I think Mo Donegal is better than Zandon, but I can't play Mo Donegal in this race from the 1 spot and being a closer in this race.
There was a horse named Looking at Lee that got second place from the 1 hole like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, Not it
I think
happens,
was he
but
behind Nyquist or Always Dreaming? He might have been behind Always Dreaming.
yeah, I think so.
So it could happen that a horse gets the rail and then just finds a rail trip all the way around and then ends up just flying home. So I'm not going to throw out Mo Donegal, but again, for me, those two are underneath type horses. Probably not going to play him to win. I guess, yeah, it's one of those things like if you're there on a pick 6 and Zandon ends up beating you, that's going to suck, but it's also going to be like, well, he probably had to have a perfect trip in order to do that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be like, if Zandon beats me, that's fine. I'm gonna let him beat me completely in the pick
Yeah.
6, pick 5. If the first closer in 10 years beats me, then okay.
Yeah, you have to make your stands, and I think we're making this stand against these mid pack runners.
Yeah.
These late runners, getting up to win.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Honestly, I almost prefer Smile Happy. If I'm
He's
gonna,
another one I had written for underneath. I mean, I think him, Mo Donegal, and Zandon. I think you could flip a coin on any one of those because they're all kind of late mid pack, late runners, and they've all shown a lot of talent in their life so far. You know, they always bring a run and hit the board.
yeah, I think Smile Happy is just going to be closer. You know, he doesn't drop to the back. Zandon was last place in the Bluegrass and made a big run. Smile Happy was fourth,
and
third.
Smile Happy was wide on that Bluegrass.
Yeah.
Like, so Zandon actually cut the corner and saved a bunch of ground, and Smile Happy had to go wide. And I don't think that's the reason why he ran him down. I think Zandon was just the better horse, but Smile Happy has a chance to improve off of that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zandon's probably the better horse. Smile Happy's just going to be in a better spot here.
But yeah,
he
could get a better trip, and
he'll be closer. Also, this is the track that he made his name at. He won that Kentucky Jockeys Club last year in his second start. Smile Happy, so he has wins at this track. He's bounced in his 2 races since, but maybe getting back to Churchill, you know, he can get up for, and he's never finished worse than second, which is something that
I think I'm going to use Smile Happy underneath as well. I think I'm going to have some tickets, some trifectas with these 3 horses underneath.
Yeah, I think Smile Happy is my big one underneath, along with Zozos. Zozos was a horse that I was really heavy on before the draw. He drew 19, and so he was almost a complete toss. But
yeah, he should be a complete toss.
But similar to what we talked about with White Barrio, he'll be able to avoid traffic out there. That's the one positive, is that he'll be able to avoid traffic, avoid kickback. He's got speed. He might be more forwardly placed just with how fast he is. And
I don't know if he's going to be able to get ahead of like Classic Causeway or White Barrio.
Oh no, for sure he won't get in front of Classic Causeway, but there's a chance that he's in that third path, and since he's outside of White Barrio, there's a chance that him and White Barrio are right next to each other on that back stretch. And if that's the case, maybe Zozos stays up. But he's a horse I wanted to play, and with the draw, I couldn't do it. But I think Smile Happy is going to be my value play underneath.
Okay, I like Smile Happy. What's his odds? Like 20-1?
Yeah, he's 20-1.
Because I have written down my value play is I think it also 20-1. It's going to be Simplification in the 13. You know, he's coming out of the Florida Derby where you know, White Barrio beat him, Charge It beat him. But Simplification, you know, he was on the lead that race, or he tested the lead. Classic Causeway was on the lead, Simplification just outside. And that was actually the fastest early pace out of all of the major prep races. They actually ran really fast fractions because what happened was Classic Causeway got to the lead, Simplification got there, and then Papa Cap was in third. And then what happened was Classic Causeway dropped out, so Simplification and Papa Cap went head to head. And so Simplification really got no break at all. He did all the dirty work, as they say, in that Florida Derby, where he was on the inside. He took all of the heat on those hot fractions, and he was able to still finish third in that Florida Derby. And we've seen that that's not even his best running style. Like, his best running style is like mid-pack, getting dirt kicked in his face, and then he swoops around the field and brings a late run. So I don't think he can win the Kentucky Derby doing that, but I do think, like, you know, maybe he works out a trip like these other late runners we're talking about, and maybe he's the one running late to get up into that trifecta, superfecta. So I do like Simplification as kind of you like Smile Happy, I like Simplification, both at 20-1 to hit the board. And I think there's good value in playing both, honestly. Like, I'll probably try to find a way to get, to have maybe like White Barrio and then maybe like Epicenter 2, and then maybe, play all these long shots in third or something.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of playing almost like a cold exacta up top and then just going deep underneath in the try and the super. That would pay huge. I mean, I was looking back at Justify's year. That exacta paid out $70 where it was Justify over Good Magic. And then Justify Good Magic Audible paid out something like, let me see, $141 with 3 of the top 4 choices finishing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that chalky on a.
But I'm saying, like, even if it is that chalky, like chalk still pays out huge on this day.
The Derby. Well, the Derby is the best betting race there is. So yeah, I think we have a good handle on it. I don't think we agree on all the horses we think are going to win, but I think we have a pretty decent handle on the way the race is going to shape up. So let's just go through like some of the rest of the field, like any other horses that you want to talk about, because there's a couple that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love Charge It. I think he's really talented. I was looking at him. If he gets up, I'm not going to be surprised. I think he's too green. You saw in the Florida Derby.
Toss him.
I'm going to toss him. He's too green.
I am too.
He was drifting out throughout the lane. He still wasn't fast enough to beat White Barrio, even though.
And another sneaky thing about that Florida Derby, you know how I said simplification did all the dirty work? Well, that race actually set up for closers. And Charge It actually, he was in 5th or 6th place. So he actually had the best chance of winning that race, being running late and, trying to circle by. And he never got by White Barrio. Like, even like people say he was going like in and out. Like, if you watch it, like White Barrio was running straight and Charge It was never going to go by him. Like, he ran up behind him, but then he kind of just flattened out. And it makes me wonder if he really even wants a mile and a quarter.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I might key Charge It in for like the Pennsylvania Derby or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like the Jim Dandy. I think he's like really solid, like a really solid Jim Dandy.
Or what's the one, the Dwyer? There's like the Dwyer at Belmont. It's only a 1 mile race, like a grade 3, something like that. Because like he had a perfect setup in that Florida Derby because of the hot pace up front, and he was off the pace. And he still couldn't get by White Barrio. And it's like, I don't know, maybe he just didn't want the extra distance. So yeah, I'm totally against Charge It. I think he's gonna get ping ponged in the middle of that field, and I think he's just gonna throw in the towel.
I think
another one that I do like though is Crown Pride, the Japanese horse.
And
I think we should bring him up.
I don't. I know everyone's gonna love him because he's Japanese and he won the UAE Derby, but he's also a closer. We talked extensively about how much we're not liking closers. He's a closer.
Again, I think my philosophy is I have like 5 horses that I think can all run late and that can hit the board. And I'm going to try to get one of those 5 to hit the board. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I think Crown Pride is in that group for me, because if you look, like, he's had workouts over Churchill Downs, and he actually fired a bullet workout just this past week. He had like a 46 workout for 4 furlongs, which is flying. That's like a very fast workout. I don't know. Maybe the trainer is working him too hard this close to the race. I don't know, but I think he's definitely interesting because Japan, they've won a couple Breeders' Cup races now. He, like you said, he won the UAE Derby over in Maidan, in Saudi Arabia, or not in Saudi Arabia, in United Arab Emirates. So like the Japanese horses are coming up on the international stage, and I think it's just a matter of time before one of them breaks through. So maybe Crown Pride could be the one. Probably not, but
probably not. It's worth mentioning.
I think he's worth a shot, man. I don't think he's without a chance. Put it that way.
I don't think he's without a chance. He is without a chance on my ticket. So I'll put it that way. I don't think there's any other horses worth mentioning. Barber Road sucks.
Happy Jack. Barber Road. Let's just talk about Barber Road. He's the slowest horse I've ever seen. That workout, he went 1:16 for 6 furlongs, which is like 4 seconds slower than what it should be. And then not only did he go 4 seconds slow, the jockey was like whipping him. The jockey was like, go, go. And the horse just couldn't go any faster. Like, That's the slowest horse of all time. I think.
Yeah,
He's in the money to get dead last. Actually, I think
it's like
Barber Road.
him and Happy Jack. I think
Happy
Summer.
Jack is terrible.
I
Yeah.
think Summer is tomorrow is like a deadlock to get last place. Him or Classic Causeway, because they're just going to be running.
Just the speed, the cheap speed.
Yeah. And then Barber Road and Happy Jack will be right there with them. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that's it. Tis the Bomb.
Tis the Bomb, I think, is a turf horse. He won on the synthetic.
He's a turf horse. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and they're just trying him here. You know, his two races.
He got the points.
Yeah, he got the points. He's a fun race. I can't wait to bet him in the Turf Triple Crown in New York later this year, but I'm not going to bet him here.
Absolutely. And then so the ones we haven't mentioned are like Tawny Port, Ethereal Road,
Toss.
If
you're in the Lexington,
and Pioneer of Medina, so another toss. So
Pioneer Medina got beat by 2 lengths by Zozos, who got beat by 5 lengths by Epicenter.
Yeah.
Toss.
Yep. So I think we're all, I think we went through the whole field here. I think we gave our top picks, and then I like some of these horses to run up underneath. I think that's the way it's going to go. I think you're going to see a horse like White Abarrio, hopefully, be that stalker, go on with it, and then some late runner comes up behind him to get second place. Maybe like White Abarrio over Zandon. Maybe I'll just play that straight up.
There you go. All right. So I think we spent like an hour talking about the Derby. Let's jump into the Oaks a little bit. I don't think there's a lot here. There's basically 4 horses we want to talk about. So I want to kick it over to you.
Yep. Looking
at the Oaks, what is your thought process on this?
So there's 4 horses that are like considered the top 4. I think 2 of them stand out above the other 2. I think Echo Zulu and Kathleen O are the top 2 choices. They've never lost. I mean, you're talking about 2 horses. They have what, 9 wins to combine, 0 second places. I think, like, how do you not bet on those 2? And especially looking at Echo Zulu, she came back with a lower buyer in her first race this year as a 3-year-old. She was the 2-year-old champion for fillies. But if you look at, she came back with a win. Even though her buyer was lower, she came back off the buyer with a bullet workout, which I love to see from Steve Asmussen horses. I think Echo Zulu is back on her A game coming into the Oaks. She's going to be my top pick. I think she's going out to the lead. She's going to be on her A game. Like I said, she's coming off the bullet workout. I think she's getting back to those high buyers. I think she's going to go all the way. By Gun Runner, that's my Gun Runner queen right there.
You get your Gun Runner double of Echo Zulu into Taiba. No, Taiba.
Maybe I'll play the Oaks Derby double with all
Taiba.
The Gun Runners. Just all the Gun Runner horses.
That's the only bet you'll have with Taiba on it is just that double.
Yes, because if I double him with Echo Zulu, then it's 2 Gun Runners winning the 2 biggest races.
Yeah.
And I'm down with that.
And then you can feel good about that. All right. Yeah. All right. So you see Echo Zulu. You see her kind of going wire to wire or pushing the pace.
Maybe not wire to wire because there's a horse next to her, Ugiri, that is it's just a pure speed horse. But I think Rosario, we wanted to bring up Rosario. He's riding Echo Zulu. I think he's going to ride Echo Zulu for speed. He's done it every race she's ever ran. So hopefully he can do that with Echo Zulu and then do it again with Epicenter next day. But I do think Echo Zulu is going to get a nice, comfortable trip. Second, she'll be sitting second and then kick home. I think she'll be nice and fit, ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's wild. Echo Zulu last year in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, she went off at 3 to 5, I think. And she's
less than 1 to 1, and she won by like 5 or 6 lengths.
Yeah, she went off at 4 to 5. And she's going to be the 4th betting choice in this race, and she hasn't lost since then. It's wild to think that. It's
crazy that she's 4 to 1. That's insane value. I think if you get 4 to 1, that's a win bet. Just hammer away.
Yeah. I love Echo Zulu. She is not going to be my top choice here. I'm going to go with the number 4 horse, Nest. And the only reason this horse is not undefeated like Kathleen O and like Echo Zulu is because they ran at Belmont in a 1-turn mile with a different jockey back in November, got 3rd there. Otherwise, this horse is perfect. Won its maiden by 5 lengths, won a stakes race in Tampa by 6 lengths, and won the Grade 1 Ashland at Keeneland by 8 8.25 lengths. This horse got a 92 buyer geared down by the stretch. Went 4 wide, going around those speed horses, hit the stretch, and just was a hand ride, just didn't care. Irad Ortiz was like, oh,
Yeah.
I've won this. Everyone's already gone. And he still got a 92 buyer on it. This horse is in perfect form, will be close to the pace, which is something we can't say about the other 2 main contenders, which is Kathleen O and Secret Oath. They're going to be closers. So Nest is going to be sitting off of Echo Zulu, and these 2 are going to be battling down the stretch. And I just think Nest is in a little bit better form. It has a little bit more tactical speed.
I just worry about, I don't know who Nest has beaten. She's won by 6 and 8 lengths in her 2 races as a 3-year-old, but I really think she's racing against some horrible fields in those races.
That's the thing with these fillies. No one's racing each other. So like Nest hasn't beat anyone. Echo Zulu beat Hidden Connection. Kathleen O beat Goddess of Fire, and Secret Oath beat Yaguri. None of the top fillies are racing each other. They're all just doing
That's
their
true.
own
They're all
thing.
kind of coming together in this race. So I guess you could poke holes in all of them with that. I don't know. With that being said, I mean, I don't think Nest is at the same level. That was her first buyer over 90 in that last race, where Echo Zulu literally her whole life has been like 90 buyers, except for her last one. She started her career with 4 buyers over 90.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be those 2. I think it's going to be Nest over Echo Zulu. They're going to be too far out in front. I think Kathleen O is going to try to make a big move in the turn like she did in the Florida Oaks or in the Gulfstream.
I was going to say I have it similar. I have Echo Zulu and Kathleen O as my top 2.
And I think similar to what we talked about in the Derby, I think Nest is just going to get the run sooner and she'll be closer to the lead. Kathleen O and Secret Oath are both going to be coming from farther back. So I think Irad is going to be able to see, okay, Javier's moving on Kathleen O. I'm going to get the jump and start moving sooner. And so he's going to hit the outside stretch. He's going to be in the clear. I think he's going to be in a better spot to make that first run at Echo Zulu.
Yeah, I mean, could be. We'll see. I love the way. I mean, we were there down in Gulfstream when Kathleen O won. She looked awesome. She does run late. She is a late runner, so you're right. Nest will be in front of her, but I think Kathleen O ran a 98. She's coming off the 98 buyer versus a 92 buyer. I think Kathleen O is just a little bit better horse.
I think Nest is going to.
I think Kathleen O is going to go after Echo Zulu, and then I think you have the 2 horses that are undefeated going head to head. I think it might set up for like an awesome photo finish on the line with those 2.
I mean, we'll see. I think Nest is also out of Curlin, so she's going to love the distance. She was a $350,000 purchase out of Curlin.
Yeah, I mean, I can't knock it.
She's the
5-2 favorite. I mean,
yeah, I was surprised there. I did not think she was going to be the favorite.
I think it was a little, I think it was a little aggressive to make her the favorite over Echo Zulu.
I mean, even over Kathleen O. I thought.
Yeah, Kathleen O. I mean, whatever.
Everyone thought that she'd be the favorite after that Gulfstream Park Oaks. So we'll see.
Kathleen O has the highest buyer. Echo Zulu has the most wins. And Nest is right there with 4 out of 5.
And then we've got Secret Oath, who we haven't even mentioned, who was brilliant until she went and faced the boys. She was doing.
Yeah.
She won her races.
I like Secret Oath. Yeah, you're right. She was brilliant in Arkansas against the Phillies out there. She was beating them by like 7 lengths every time. Ran a 92 buyer.
7 lengths, 8 lengths, 93, 88, 92. Yeah.
I mean, I think the Arkansas Derby was a fine race. I mean, she ran up against Cyberknife and Cyberknife put her away. So, yeah, like she can't hang with the boys, but I think this is a little too tough of a race. Like I think she's just a cut below those top 3 horses that we were talking about there.
Yeah, I agree, which is wild because back in like February, everyone said Secret Oath was going to win the Oaks, and then she kind of got exposed.
I don't think she got exposed. I think.
I mean, it was a hard race.
She ran up against boys and she didn't win.
And I think she also didn't show heart because she got passed by Barbara Road. She faded to 3rd, which caused you that huge superfecta.
I know I had a huge superfecta. I would have hit for like 12.
Because she couldn't get up.
Let's talk about that.
I know she couldn't get up to catch Cyberknife, and so she faded, and Barbara Road was able to pass her as she was going back, and that was a really bad sign for me.
Because I think she was chasing, she was chasing better athletes than she's used to, right? I think against the Phillies, she's chasing horses that, like when they see her coming, they quit and she goes on with it. And instead, she's chasing these males that are, they're not phased by it. So I think that's what happened.
And if she's not able to catch a 92
I think she's a very good
buyer,
horse. I think this is just a grade one. We're talking about like a top level grade one race here. And I don't think she's at that level.
Yeah. It's just like, put it in perspective, Cyberknife got a 92 in that race, and Secret Oath wasn't anywhere near him. Ness got a 92, in a workout essentially.
Yeah.
In that last race. So I think we both really like Echo Zulu. I think Nest is going to make the shot. You've got Kathleen O making the run.
And then I will bring up a longer shot. Nostalgic, the number 2, is 15-1. She's also kind of like a mid-pack late runner. She's won her last 2 races. So I think and really, if you really look at it, she started her career on dirt. She won. She went to a grade 2. She lost the grade 2. And then they moved her to turf for some reason in her 3rd start. And then she hated turf, finished dead last. And then they went back to dirt, and she's boom, boom, two wins in a row. So I think Nostalgic, even though she's coming off a grade 3 win and only has an 86 buyer, I think she's pointing the right way. And I think, maybe she, if you want to get crazy underneath with some exactas or trifectas, I think Nostalgic could be the one that runs up late and maybe gets second to one of these horses.
Yeah, interesting. I'm actually going to go with a different long shot, and that's the number 13 horse, Shahama. This horse is coming from Maidan. It won 4 races at Maidan, undefeated. Got transferred to Todd Pletcher to run specifically in this race.
Yeah, I see. I see it. There's a lot of hype around this one coming from the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean,
she's 4 for 4.
4 for 4, undefeated. Won the last race by 2 lengths. She's getting Flavian Pratt. She's getting Todd Pletcher.
It's definitely interesting. Let's see. What can I? The only thing I see here is she's by Munnings, and Munnings is usually a sprint sire. But she did win at 1 mile and 3/16 already. So
yeah, and she was $425,000 purchase.
That's longer. That's longer. She's already won at a longer distance than what this race is.
Yeah. I think she'll be fine. My only thing with her is that she's also kind of a closer. And Kathleen O's going to be a better closer. And Secret O's probably a better closer too.
Maybe in the super, I'm going to write down Shahama, because maybe in the superfecta I'll try to throw in that one and Nostalgic. Maybe one of those two will get up in there.
Yeah, I think Shahama's going to be my. I'm going to put.
Or in a trifecta.
Yeah, I'm going to do Nest and Echo Zulu, Cold Exacta, in Exacta box. And then I'm going to do Shahama and Kathleen O in 3rd for my trifecta.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on the Oaks. All these other horses.
Fun race, man. There's a lot of horses that are undefeated in that Oaks. That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Like the one that Nostalgic beat, Venti Valentine. Everyone thought she'd be another one of the main contenders. Her only loss was by a neck to Nest. But she happened to lose that
she
Gazelle.
Just lost to Nostalgic.
Yeah, so. She lost to the Gazelle to Nostalgic. So she's also could be a contender. She's a front runner, so she'll be up near the pace. But I don't think she's as good as Nest or Echo Zulu.
Man, I really think Echo Zulu coming in off that bullet workout, I think it shows that she's ready to get back into that high 90 buyer range.
I think you're right. I think she's going to have a big performance here, and then we'll see her all summer. She'll probably win the Alabama at Saratoga for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really excited to play her in the Oaks Derby double.
Yeah, I mean, look at last year. Like Malathat didn't come back until the Ashland, and she didn't race all summer or all spring. Came back in the Ashland, didn't win that race super impressively, and then won the Oaks.
Oh right, Malathat, yeah.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's similar to Echo Zulu. She barely won her prep race, just like Malathat. And then, maybe she jumps forward off of that.
Yeah, so we'll see. Anything else to add about the Oaks?
No, I mean, I think we got it. Like, we like Echo Zulu in the top 2, and I think you just like Nest. I like Kathleen O to be that other horse to finish out the top 2. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll play it the same way, play a Cold Exacta on top, try to hit some prices below them. Yeah, perfect. Sounds good. All right. Well, that's our show for the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks podcast. Any last thoughts on either race, John? White Barrio, Tyler Gaffleone, bring it home for Florida.
we'll bring it home for Florida. We'll both be happy if White Barrio wins. John's on White Barrio. I'm on Epicenter. John's on Echo Zulu. I'm on Nest. Those are our top picks for the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks. So follow along. Good luck to everyone this weekend for the big day.
We'll be back. We're going to come back with a Pick 6 podcast.
Yep. So look on the channel for the Pick 6 podcast. We're going to go through those races again.
That's going to be a crazy sequence.
Yeah.
I'm excited to break that one down.
Yeah, we got to be able to look through that. But yeah, so good luck to everyone, and may the juleps be with you. Take care.